Today I'm going to be talking about our friend Ironman running, the marathon, the back end, the place where you start to hurt after 5.5 or 6 hours. And we're going to talk about how we're going to improve our Ironman running quickly and easily, and essentially to work on technique instead of flogging it. So the first thing I'm going to say as a coach is stop running backwards. I'd like $1 for every athlete I've seen with a sway back in an Ironman marathon. You know, standing there on the courses I have over so many years, watching people desperately trying to lift their knees with a foot plant way too far ahead of the center line. And what I've witnessed over many years on many courses is virtually watching people leaning back. The tighter they get, the more they lean back. It's really interesting to watch. And I suspect everybody who's ever watched a bunch of Ironman could tell you the same thing. This is what happens. Because I guess the body wants to avoid the discomfort. Of course it does. That's natural, right? It doesn't want to go there. So it has its own mechanism to try and protect us. And sometimes that's leaning back as things tighten up. So we end up in this situation where we're running gingerly in an Ironman. But it increases the pain and the discomfort exponentially because we lose access to efficiency and running economy. That's what goes out the window. So the first thing that happens when we start to lean back is our cadence drops down and we just end up trudging, running through treacle. Why is that? Why does that happen? Well, because we're not using the natural leverage and free speed that nature provides us. And that's called gravity. If you want great running economy, you need to use the supple practice of leaning in. Basically the opposite of what happens in an Ironman marathon when I see people leaning out or leaning back, as more is the case when they tighten up. But there's things that you can do as you tighten up to offset this tightening. Now, running economy requires that you be cognizant of where your body is spatially so you can use gravity and free speed to your advantage, right? But you can't know what you don't know when you don't know it. And that's the key thing here. So if we're armed with a little bit of knowledge about how to use free speed, how to use gravity, how to use natural leverage to our advantage, then it's something that we can use in training to the advantage of our racing. And not only that, it sets up a mindset for it. So let's get to know it a little better. I'm going to make a few suggestions to the crew out there right now who are swinging the axe towards their next Ironman, or any other race for that matter, because it's important across the board. And that is your lean angle, right? Now, a lot of people tend to ignore this, but it's really important. I think that they need to stand up really tall, but there's more to it than that. You need to learn to lean from the ankles so your body is slightly falling forwards, not from the hips, but from the ankles. And why would you do that? Well, you try it and you'll quickly see why. The forward momentum raises your turnover naturally. It comes naturally. And because your knee falls forward, instead of you having to lift it, gravity pulls it through. This also has the effect of planting your feet directly under your body. Your foot strike goes directly under your body instead of breaking out in front. And in my opinion anyway, vastly reducing the load that's going through our legs and our hips. And this is the advantage of simply leaning in from the ankles. And I see many athletes at Ironman looking like they're marching. You know, they're lifting their knees all the time. They're running up and down, head up straight and leaning back. That's not running. And when people operate this way, it kind of is marching. It's marching, all right. It's a death march. But the metaphor fits, doesn't it? I mean, it is a death march when we run like that. So we can check this quickly and simply during our long runs simply by stopping what we perceive as the enemy is actually to our advantage. So that's getting your body straight by imagining someone is pulling your hair from above, like we've been told, but then simply leaning forward from the ankles until our toes claw the ground. Then you fall forward using that same angle. And hey presto, you've got the right body angle. And it's so easy to check. And it's such an easy thing to do, to just stop. So now I'm going to make a radical suggestion, right? In an Ironman, if you're bogging down or you feel like your cadence is bogging down, you're getting slow, it's starting to hurt, I suggest you stop and check your lean angle. Seriously, because it might save you more time than you could possibly imagine. And, you know, as much time as that takes, but put your ego on ice and your body will leverage gravity if you recheck the angle and then you restart again. In training, I suggest you check the lean angle before every rep. And if it's a long run, check it out. Let's just say every 10, 15 minutes, right? And if you have a treadmill set your treadmill incline to 2%. And this gives you a nice lean from the ankles. And you can take this whole thing a step further and invest in a full length mirror so you can constantly check your lean angle and your form. And it's not a bad practice for the ergo either on the bike. The mirror gives you instant feedback. You can smash the hell out of yourself while you motivate yourself looking at yourself, but it is literally instant feedback on form and technique. But the main reason for stopping during runs is the same essential idea. You want to change something in your technique in any of the disciplines at all. You need to become the mirror to your own process. That's what you need to do. And that's what we often ignore. The fact that we need to become the mirror to our own process and develop ways that we can do that. Filming ourselves, using a mirror, checking the lean angles, looking out for technique. And many athletes stay stuck because they fail to take action when there's an issue with technique, you know, and breaking down your own process and becoming your own mirror gives you the instant feedback that you need to make that shift, to make that change in technique that's going to make all the difference. But getting back to the Ironman Marathon, when you do stop, when you do go to recheck this lean angle, all you simply need to do is stop, give yourself a little bit of a break, maybe walk a little bit, have your feet shoulder width apart, simply lean from the ankles, leaning in from your sternum, keeping the body straight until you feel the toes claw the ground. That's the right angle of attack. And that's the angle that if you use it in Ironman will assist you greatly in keeping your cadence up, keeping your use of gravity and the natural running gait in play. So you're not shortening up so much, because that's what happens in Ironman. The hammies get shorter and shorter and shorter. The more you stand up straight, the more you're lifting your knees, the tighter the hammies the tighter the hips are getting, the tighter the psoas is getting, the whole thing is jamming up and you're running backwards, and that's what's happening. And then that is what the coaches are seeing on the course. Get into it.